Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of The Wellness Way. We are your host, Jennifer Farrar. That's me, and my wonderful co host and energetic companion and colleague, Susan Flerchinger. And we are so thrilled to have you with us today because we're going to talk about a topic that's near and dear to our hearts. It is the world, the wonderful world of crystals and how they can help and how they energetically move us through some of our stuff and how they enrich our lives. As I said before, I am Jennifer Farrar. Healing Peace Within is my business, and I help you do a number of things. One is move you through your traumas with just so much grace and ease. And I also help you release those limitations and those lack and all of those things that tell you, no, I can't have, no, I can't be, no, I can't do, and move you into, yes, I can. I can have all those things and I can have that and more. And that is an exciting journey. Susan, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Susan Flerchinger, your vibrant energy engineer, and my business is Form to Soar. And I really do specialize in helping energetically creating pain-free lives, really vibrant energy, healing your heart of all that is stopping you from being the version of you that you are here to be. And we are all meant to live the extraordinary calling in life that we were created for.
Oh.
Sometimes we most of the time we need some energetic help to get there. And so that's what Jennifer and I both do, is helping you in that pathway to wellness.
And she doesn't know this, but I'm giving her a shout out because just this week, think it was on Wednesday. I live in Iowa. We had just a little bit of snow, enough to make everything a little slippery, and I slipped and fell. And before our recording of that episode, Susan helped me become pain free and feel so much better. So I am grateful for that. There's a little shout out for you, Susan.
What
And
I might even mention before we hop on to go any farther is that ability to work. We haven't really talked about this much remotely, not
Mhm.
in the same space. Energetically, absolutely works. It doesn't matter time and
Yep.
space distance, and it absolutely works. So we'll delve into that more in a later episode to really help you understand that. But that's just how energy works.
Energetic wonders of crystals. So, for centuries, probably millennia, crystals have been used. They're not just beautiful stones, they have their own metaphysical properties, they have their own energetic properties, and they're not just to wear. As if you look at the royal family and their tiaras and all of their beautiful rubies and emerald bracelets and earrings and things like that, they're not just beautiful things to adorn ourselves with. They have healing properties, they have metaphysical properties. And even the ancient Egyptians used crystals for various things. And they are vital tools that I use every day in my
Mhm.
healing practice. So, in this episode, we are going to explore that. We're going to give you some great examples that Susan and I use in the real world in our healing spaces, and open our hearts and open our minds to the different energetics and different ways that we can use crystals for our wellness. How about that?
Perfect. That sounds
Excited? I
awesome.
am.
Excited. Me too.
Because there's so many possibilities, because there are so many different crystals out there. And so let's start by understanding what they are. So they're naturally occurring substances that over the billions of years that this earth has been in existence has created by the earth's movement processes and all of the things that have created our wonderful, incredible environment that we live in. And that journey that they took imbues it with their energetic properties. And it's been cherished not only by our culture, but by many different cultures. Ancient Egyptians buried quartz. I'm going to give you an example. Buried clear quartz with their dead because it helped them on the journey to their afterlife. And jade has been prized in China for its good luck and its other properties and protective properties. Ancient Rome and indigenous tribes in the United States and in the all of the Americas have used crystals for various honorings of any deity that they have or any healing properties that they have. But beyond the historical value, what draws people to crystals today is their energetic properties and their vibration and frequency. And we've talked a lot in past episodes about energy and what vibration is and its vibrational properties. So go ahead and look back at all of our other episodes to get more information about that. So crystals can store and emit those vibrations. And that's one of the reasons why we use them in our healing processes today. And it's deeply rooted. That concept is deeply rooted in many traditions throughout many cultures across this beautiful planet Earth we call home. So, Susan, what's next?
Just a little bit more. You actually alluded to it's the science behind the crystal. Just humans, animals, people are divinely created. All everything on the earth has been, divinely created and
Mhm.
has a vibrational energy to it that is measurable. And
Mhm.
crystals are the same. And plants, trees, everything in our world has a place in
Absolutely.
keeping balance and flow and harmony in our world. And we all have different vibrational attributes that allow that goodness to come through. You mentioned a few of them already, like a rose quartz is something that is for love. Its color, its shape, the properties and energetic properties of it help with our heart health and our love state. And so while it's hard to have that vibrational frequency scientifically, it can be scientifically figured out. I don't know the tools that do that, but there are a lot of people that have invested in understanding the qualities and the properties and the science of each of these crystals. I know that we use very regularly. Jennifer and I both had rock shops in not too long ago, and we each use these this book. It's called The Crystal Bible, is one of our big ones, and it's by Judy Hall, and she's just the late Judy Hall, but she had figured out the science of these different stones, just that purity of them, and how they're best used by us in our world for bringing in whatever that quality is. And so the science of them should not be taken lightly because they are truly here in the real world in benefit for our world.
And we're going to give you an example, a few examples of this crystals that we use on a regular basis and in our healing work. And the first one is selenite. So, do you have your selenite? Because I have mine. I have
I
them in
have this
different shapes.
beautiful, gigantic one that from my favorite
Oh,
rock guy here in Spokane.
I'm
It's
jealous.
just I just it's one I sometimes just hold. And I know your selenite heart there, and it has there's an angel in there, and
Yep,
some
the
of those
angel wings.
internal shapes, and they're like they imbue that energy, that
Mhm.
angelic energy in some of those as well. Share some more about the qualities of the selenite.
Selenite is named after Selene or Selene, the Greek goddess of the moon, because guess what it looks like? Moon.
Mhm.
And it's celebrated for its protection and purifying properties. And it's a translucent crystal. It's used for cleansing the aura, promoting a sense of calm, and it's considered an excellent tool for spiritual insight and connecting to higher realms. And you can do that by meditation. And it's also a self cleansing stone. So selenite itself doesn't need to be cleansed, and it can also cleanse other stones. So when I have selenite, little pieces of selenite plus other pieces of selenite all over my healing room. And what most people say is like they walk in and go, "Oh, it feels so calm." And people have even used the word serene. And a couple of my clients can just come in and say, "I just want to sit here for a few minutes because the room feels so calm and
I
peace."
receive. I actually didn't even realize it. I wore my selenite earrings today because they do bring that peace and serene
Mhm.
and uplifted energy when I wear them, and so I like to wear them often because yeah, they bring everything up to support what I'm doing during the day.
Yep. And I find it interesting that people say my room is so calm because I deal with a lot of clients who are in severe trauma
Yeah.
and who have big heart wounds and are letting all of that energy go. And that's one of the reasons why I use the selenite, because so that all of that gets transformed and transmuted so that the client coming next doesn't pick up on that energy. The other thing, and I've showed it to you before, but I'm going to show it to you again because I love it. It's my clear quartz.
Mhm.
This, I just love this. I actually have two of these, and these are actually underneath my healing table. And because one, quartz is an amplifier, it's going to amplify any energy that's around it. And when I put someone on my healing table, I want to amplify the healing energy that I'm transmitting to my clients. And
Right.
it's also known as a master healer because it does so much more than just amplify the healers and amplify your energy. And in fact, clear quartz is used in all of our technologies today. Your
Mhm.
computer, your phone, you name it,
Watches, right?
watches. Yeah, watches. It's in there. So clear quartz is a phenomenal stone to have, whether it's a big piece like mine or even a tiny piece. Even I was gonna look for my even nope, can't find my milky quartz. There's also milky quartz, so there's a bunch of different types of quartz
Variation.
variations thereof. So talk about amethyst.
Yeah. So I'm going to say really quick, we have a number of stones that we're going to be talking about today, and using these resources to understand what their properties are. We can't
Mhm,
remember it all, so we're just pulling out some of these, and I'm reading some of this because there's so much information to say it,
mhm,
just so you know that. But the other thing is, and we're going to be talking this in a little bit, when you have an intention for something that you want to support in your life. And you go to a rock shop or in the presence of different crystals, it's a lot so much of it is about what it feels like to you and the
mhm.
benefit that it's giving to you. So even though we're saying use it for this, that doesn't mean that's the only way that it has benefit for you. About so the amethyst, like the one that I have in my room here, sitting right behind you, is I've just it's just that's just a special one for me because it has just such beautiful properties for my yeah for growth, for intuition, and it helps in some of those really uplifted highway yeah, oh, and it's the purple, sometimes the color of it is part of its benefit and support for you. Sometimes it's the crystal itself, its form and its shape, and just the vibrational qualities about it that we can utilize. It helps reduce stress, emotional turmoil that might be going on, providing calming and protective energy. And I do have this in my room where I work a lot because it brings that tranquility and support for whatever I'm doing and for the people that visit me in my space, remotely or in person. And it just allows you to be able to do some really uplifted and magnificent work with people with the support of these crystals. But the other one I want to talk about is Labradorite. And I have this beautiful, nice, big kind of raw version, and I'll let you talk about that in just a moment, Jennifer. But the labradorite for me, this is one of the first stones that I got in my crystal
Mhm.
shop, and it's like a piece of heaven on earth to me. That's just the feeling that I get when I touch and use my labradorite because it's and again, it's a very emotional and spiritual connective stone, and just really reaches in and helps people access all the things that they need to access to clear, to transmute, to love, to it just lets you get to all of the pieces gently but
Mhm.
deeply, and then you can deal with what needs to be dealt with and move forward. I know, Jennifer, you have a great example of a success using Labradorite, so if you'd share that.
Yeah, I had a client when I was a manager of a crystal shop. I had a customer come in and his beloved dog, and they had been through thick and thin together and was having seizures, and it was an older dog, and the vet had said you really should put him down. And of course that just was like, no, that's not going to happen. And my my customer bought Labradorite, bought Amethyst, bought clear quartz, and there were a couple other stones I can't remember now, but put him on his kennel. And then the dog just went right in and took a nap. And afterwards came out, no seizures. When the dog was having seizure after seizure, barely able to stand. And the dog lived many more years. And anytime the dog felt like it was going to have a seizure, it would just go lay down in his kennel and just rest with those crystals on top. So even animals can feel the vibration and the healing properties of crystals. How cool is that?
Yes. And the beautiful thing about the animals is they don't try to think about it and rationalize it. They just know this will benefit me. Bring it on.
Yeah.
And that's what people need to, that's why we want to communicate just the benefit because people think too much about what helps
Yep.
me, what hurts me, whatever. But if you can be drawn to something that you know benefits you and supports you in your well-being, utilize it. It's your body knows this will help me, and so we just want to help share the tremendous value and benefit of listening to that and utilizing that.
The other crystal that I use a lot is citrine. This is a natural citrine, meaning that it was not heat treated. A lot of what you find as citrine is actually amethyst that has been heat treated and changed the chemical property to a citrine. And you can tell this is natural by how clear it is. And it's an amazing crystal because it's often referred to as the stone of abundance,
Mhm.
and it's great for people to put right by your cat. If you have a brick and mortar store, you can put even a small citrine. Nope, that's not citrine. This is citrine. A
Mhm.
small
Keep mine
citrine
small.
in your cash register in one of the drawers, and that helps promote money coming into your business. How awesome is that? I actually, in Idaho, this was many years ago in Idaho, I walked into a metaphysical shop and I just wanted to check it out. I was like, oh, I'm here in Idaho. Let me go shopping. And I walked in and it was 4 feet. The owner had a 4 foot citrine cathedral right next to her cash register. And literally in this itty bitty town, somewhere in Montana, I don't remember where it was, in this itty bitty town, there was a line at her cash register. People were buying things like crazy. Was it because of the citrine? I don't know, but every metaphysical shop I've ever walked into, there's always citrine at the cash register because it's the stone of abundance and
Oh,
it's a sunny,
mhm.
and it I always feel very sunny, and I it could be because of the color. I always feel very sunny and uplifted when I play around with citrine. And I keep this is my little citrine wand. I keep it near my since I don't have a cash register, I do take credit. So I keep it near my credit processing machine because
Yeah.
that's where my
Money
where I
flow
take money into my business. How cool is that?
No, well done. I said I've used citrines for quite a few things, but for some reason not for that. So that's a great example.
So now you know. This is called kyanite, and this has a coating on it, so it doesn't matter whether it's coated or not. This is blue kyanite, and I use kyanite for heart healings. It's also used for spiritual awakenings. When a client comes in with a broken heart and I'm doing energy work on them, I will put that on their heart chakra, which is like right here. And that deepens the connection to the energy that I'm transmitting. And that helps heal their wounds. Many clients have come in with just severe trauma and they feel so much lighter and they feel so much deeper connection to the energy when I use kyanite.
Oh, that's beautiful. In fact, a great segue to the rose quartz again. Again, I have this nice big one. It is the stone of unconditional love. And
Mhm.
so whenever I am doing any heart work or helping with healing the heart, rose quartz is my go-to one. And when I work on people face to face, when I've done body work, I always have smaller ones that they can like, put on their heart space or even just hold in their hands because just that energy just gets into their system and allows that it really does allow that heart healing more amazingly because of the benefit from the rose quartz. And so, yeah, emotional wounds, relationships. I use get a lot for relationship difficulties. To be as you're setting your intentions for the love and the fulfillment and the joy of those partnerships, to be able to think that intention while you're holding a stone like that, it just amplifies that ability to create that goodness in your relationships. Always have rose quartz around and your marriages, your families. I have them, I keep them out in my living room, in the bedroom, just places where you have that connection with people that's strong. Just allow it to be uplifted by the rose quartz. Fluorite is one of my other ones. I have fluorite everywhere, but these can fluorite can come in green and blue, or so not so much green and purple predominantly, or there's variations of those colors. And fluorite really is helps have a strong protective and a stabilizing energy to it. I found that putting it in front of my computer where there's a maybe more electromagnetic energy, I'll just put it there and it just allows that absorption of that energy to come into the stone and it is a self-cleansing as well. But then it doesn't have an interaction with me and my body. And so I always have one right by my computer. And it can be little or big, but it just allowing it to do that clearing of that negative energy supports the when I'm doing things electronically. So that's another
Well, it does come in blue, but it is very rare. But when you
right.
find it, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. It
Yeah.
is so beautiful. And unfortunately, I left my blue fluorite at home because I have a little piece of it like that big and I have it near my
Yeah.
television and like right above it. And I just sometimes forget to watch the show I'm watching because I get transfixed by my blue fluorite.
Yes. We get that.
The next one I use a lot, especially to keep me grounded, is my Apache tear. This is a polished version of it. It also can be raw. And when it's raw, you'll see some white on it as well, which I don't remember what that is. But this is for grief, loss, depression. Any grounding stone is going to help you with that. And this helps absorb negative energy. Black stones are great
Blackstones.
for
Mhm.
absorbing negative energy and they help heal old wounds. That's one of the reasons why I love it because that's what I do mostly. And and also, if you're having trouble thinking, like you have brain fog, this little stone, black stone, is great for helping analytical thinking.
Mm.
And I'm going to give you an example of how it grounded me. So years ago, because and this is even before I loved crystal since I was knee high to a grasshopper
Me too.
and but I didn't really get into the metaphysical properties of them until later. Until
Mm.
actually what happened is I was at the Edge Life Expo in Minneapolis and I was doing healing work and I was getting there was so much energy in this building, like on a Saturday, 4,000 people went by and I was just like banging. I was doing work. I barely got a break. And I was getting really just loopy. Oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. And I had a line out, people wanting a session. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Let me grab my Apache tears that were in my purse. And I put them in my pocket, and it was literally instant. I was grounded. No more loopiness. I was like this. I thought I
Mhm.
was gonna fall over. And I was able to finish the weekend, and I felt fine.
Yes.
That was the only thing I did differently, is
Mhm.
put 2 Apache tear, one in my right pocket, one in my left pocket.
Ah, great
So,
example and testimonial of that value that really it can be so profoundly fast and wonderfully impactful. So thank you for
yep, it's
that.
instant. It was instant. I was surprised. I was like,
Right.
"Okay, I'm good. Let's go."
Yeah. You mentioned kind of black stones, and I have quite a few obsidians
Mm,
around that same thing. It's that black stone absorbs that negative energy and lets things ground quickly. And so that you're not having to have your body to do that. That's a role that it plays and the vibration that it plays is to be able to do that. And they're beautiful, beautiful working stones, but they allow that grounding and peace to come in, yeah, miraculously
yep.
quick.
And I also use we didn't put this in our list, and I also use smoky quartz in that way.
Oh,
Uh,
yes.
yep, and oh, yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
A raw version, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for showing me. That's beautiful.
So, we'll just end with this one. So, a moonstone, which is this one that I'm wearing right here today, I do often wear when I'm working because it gives me some mental and emotional stability for whatever I have going on or whoever that I'm working with. So, it's doing some of the pre and during work when I'm working with somebody so that I just don't have to be having any issue with that. And so a lot of these are creating that peace, creating that calm, creating that love or joy so that we don't have to think about it. It's just doing that work. And so having them in a proximity to where you are, wearing them, there's a lot that you wear as bracelets because it just gives that vibrational support for whatever that is that your body is needing without you even thinking about it. It can preset you up versus what Jennifer was talking about. It's like when you realize, oh, but that was like a lot going on that I needed to manage. And so you can use them to say, okay, I'm going to grab this and hold on to it right now to reset the whole situation. And so they can be used for so many different ways and for so many benefits. And so that kind of brings us right into the using crystals for personal growth. And so it's like, how can you incorporate these treasures and notice the value of them for yourself? And we want to start with just choosing, how do we choose a crystal? And Jennifer, you have a whole piece on that, and I'll just say for me, what I found when I had people that would come into my rock shop, they'd say, "I have this going on," or "I have this going
Mhm.
on," and based on the properties, we could say these are been shown to be beneficial for these particular things. But then what I'll do is I'll just say, and I just want you to close your eyes for a minute and just, I have a circular room, and so just gaze and feel where you're drawn to, what stones are calling you to support you. And so I would just let them be drawn to a particular area, and then I would have them hold different stones so that you could literally, you'll feel sometimes hot or cold, a buzzing, but you can tell when that one is talking to you to be supportive to you.
Yep.
And so that's one way, or a couple different ways that letting you choose and let the crystals choose you.
Absolutely. That's very similar to what I would do with my customers. A lot of times they would have this big long list of, okay, I have this issue. I looked on the internet. This is the crystal that I wanted with that. And this is the crystal that helped with that. I need that. And then on down their list. And I'd be like, let's, okay, I will sell you those crystals, but let's see what, what resonates with you, because the
Mhm.
crystal will pick you. rather than
Yeah.
you picking the crystal. And I would just tell my clients, we had 2 rooms, and I'm like, "Okay, this is this room," and we had them divided up by colors, not by their properties, because
Ah,
1, it was a much better display, and 2, the colors similar color crystals have similar properties.
mm,
And they would walk around both rooms, and then I'm like, "Okay, what crystal is jumping out at you?" And they're like, "What do you mean jumping out at you?" And I said, "Okay, walk by this wall, and you said what crystal's speaking to you, and I just said what crystal's jumping out at you." And they're like, "This one got really big. Even if it was something this tiny, it got really big." Excuse me. And I'm like, "That's what I mean by it's jumping out at you. It's
yes.
telling you that it wants to work with you. It has
Mm,
things and energetic properties that is going to help you." And they're like, "But that's not on my list." And I'm like, I'm like, uh-huh. Doesn't
yeah.
matter.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
like, I'll sell you what's on your list, but this is the crystal that's telling you it wants to work with you.
right. And most people don't throw the lists out the window right after they learn those connections and how to listen to that pickings. So,
And invariably they came back like a day or two, sometimes a week or two later, and oh my God, you were so right.
yeah. Mm,
You were so right. I bought what was on my list and I didn't use any of them, but I used the crystal that jumped out at me. I'm like, "Yep,
yes.
that's what it's telling you, that something within you, n that crystal
Resonated.
fulfilled
Yeah.
that energy." And
Beautiful.
as always, and we haven't talked about this, but as always, if you need a healthcare provider, these are metaphysical properties, these are spiritual properties. If you have a physical or mental issue, please see your doctor or your
Exactly. Yes.
healthcare provider.
Yes.
These
Yeah.
are
These are
not
holistic ways of well-being that
these
add to everything that you have going on.
these are not in place of,
Correct.
these are in conjunction with, that we can help you with. The other thing that I have in my office, mostly because a friend of mine set them up for me, is a crystal grid. And we've talked a lot about intentions.
Yes.
And a crystal grid is a perfect way of giving that intention and amplifying that intention, giving it some oomph. And you can arrange them however you want to arrange them. You can put them in a specific geometric pattern, or you can intuit any type of pattern that you want. The one thing that we do recommend is that you have a middle crystal, that's your focus, that's your main crystal, and then you build your grid however you want to build your grid around it. And then you place your intention. As you're placing your crystals, you place your intention, whatever that may be, into those crystals. And those crystals are going to amplify that intention. And what I mean by, and I'm going to show it to you again because I just love it. Doesn't have to be this big, because this one's a big guy. And you can, that would be a perfect middle crystal to bring the energy in and take it up to the divine,
Mhm,
however, wherever you want to take it. So,
mhm,
first things first, choose your intention. And then
mhm.
do what Susan and I do, told our customers, go find the crystals. If you have crystals, like I have a bunch of crystals, I have a big bowl of them.
Oh, yes, I was hoping you were gonna show that.
This is septarian. This is one of the oldest crystals on the planet. And then I just fill it with all sorts of different tumbled stones that have been given to me and I purchased at my favorite rock shop.
Mm,
But I'll pick and choose what crystal that I want for various intention. I have different shapes. Like I have a star that's green adventuring, that's also for good luck. And I have, this is carnelian. This is great for, it's also a prosperity stone.
yeah, business prosperity,
So I'll use different shapes depending on what my intention is and what I want my grid to do. So
Mhm.
as long as you have that center stone, you can build your grid however big or small. It doesn't have to be this elaborate thing. However big or small you want your grid to be. Some people like I I have friends who would make a grid out of their entire room. And
Mhm.
I have a grid that a friend of mine made underneath my healing table. So I put my clear quartz, I have two of those big papas, and I put those clear quartz underneath my table, and then the grid helps bring the energy around to amplify the healing energy that's going on. And boy,
Right.
my clients can tell a difference when I have moved that grid. And sometimes I have events in my office and I've moved the grid and they're like, something's different.
Right.
Something's different. Like, well,
Mhm.
I just took the grid down. And they're like, can you please put it back?
Yeah.
So a grid is there to amplify the intention. And I also grid my room. I have in the corners of my room, I have selenite, I have labradorite, and I have this is the Apache tier, but I have shungite. But shungite's a black stone. Yeah. And that also helps keep my room clear of other unwanted energies. And I'm in a multi-use building. So I have people who live above me and I have other therapists in this building. So I want to keep that energy out. And all I do is I put those crystals in the corners of my room. That's it, and I let them do their work.
Yeah. Our last
Labradorite.
session we were Oh, sorry.
Go
Last
ahead.
session, we were talking about the cleansing your space in your room and all the different
Mhm,
possibilities of how you can effectively do that. And crystals, we didn't go into detail then because we were talking about it here, but crystals are definitely a way to cleanse and set up your
mhm.
space to be most effective. So that's a great way to add to the benefit of what
Yep.
you're providing in your space.
And it's just it's a really simple way of and you don't it's a really simple way of keeping your space clear. Like, I have selenite in my bedroom. I have gridded my bedroom and with exactly the same thing. Although I haven't put labradorite there, I have smoky quartz, I have some shungite, and I have selenite. And a lot of it was because I used to live behind a hospice, and there was a lot of grief coming from that. And as an empath, I felt all that. I was like, I don't understand why I'm so sad in my own home. And then I found out I was living behind a hospice, which I didn't know. And because the hospice had moved in after I had bought the house. And so that helped keep, yeah, yeah, that helped keep the energies of the hospice out of my bedroom and out of my house.
Mhm.
So this is a good way if you have neighbors
Neighbors
that
or
are not so nice. And I've also put quartz around my in the corners of my house on the outside to help keep the energy clear, and it's been amazing.
yeah,
So those are all great ways that you can use crystals
crystals.
and ways that you can grid. Just every now and then, you're going to have to cleanse them.
Something before we jump into that is just gridding is one thing, but it's choosing an effective way that you can utilize the stones. And I don't think we talked about this quite yet, but sometimes just holding them, just the example that you had where you put them in your pockets. If you have a particular thing going on where maybe there's a conversation you have to have with a person, a husband, a spouse, whatever, a relationship person, and there's just some turmoil going on, put a rose quartz in your pocket to just be able to help you be calm, get you in a more loving state before the conversation so that it just eases the flow of that. I have bowls all around too, and depending on what I have going on that day, I'll put one in one pocket, I'll put a different one in another, I'll just put one. I'll sometimes I just walk around and I'm holding one because it's something that I'm dealing with that I need some extra oomph with.
Yep.
And so just know that they can they're going to do their work for you however you set them up and use them. Your part is just to bring them in and let them do their work.
Let them do their work. It's funny that you mentioned that because a lot of times when female customers would come in and they're like, "Can you identify this stone for me?" And I'm like, "Okay, where is it?" And they're pulling it out of their bra. And I'm
By your
like,
heart, it's a close pull, just
"Yes,
like wearing a braid or a necklace too. It's putting
yeah,
it right in that heart space to help them out. And where can you hold it? That's if you don't have a
yeah,
pocket. And
yeah." And
totally regular thing.
we all know a lot of female pants do not have pockets for whatever reason. That
Right.
and then
Mhm.
I showed you my bowl. I'm going to show you again. I do have some clients who are children, and I require a parent to be in the room. And sometimes they don't have childcare, so they'll bring a younger brother or sister, and I let them play in my bowl, and children are transfixed
Oh,
by
yeah. I was as a kid, still am.
me too. Think I still have some of the rocks that I picked up on our little walks, and I was a paper delivery girl, and I would pick up rocks in my pockets, and my mom's, "What are in your pockets?" I'm like, "Rocks." I'm
Ah,
like, "I found them. 'Em. They're so cool." And then in my office, the kids can take, 1 or 2 home with them, so they get all excited about coming back to my office. So, those are all different ways that you can use crystals for your own growth. One of the important things about crystals is keeping them clean.
and it's something that you don't think of, but cleansing them and charging them is a phrase that's used with crystals. Helps maintain and allow them to be effective. Just like us, when we're all gunked up or we've done too much and we need to cleanse ourselves,
Mhm.
crystals are the same ways. And so we just need to be real conscious about that sometimes when we have a whole bunch of crystals around. And so there are some fairly easy ways to cleanse your crystals and just moonlight. So, like, when there's a full moon and setting them on windowsills or something, that allows them to just cleanse themselves just naturally, running them in water. Now, there are some crystals that can melt in water, so you do have to learn about if they're raw. There's a few, so you just need to learn that, but in general, just rinsing them off works well. That's what I do most of the time with mine. Salt water can be another one, just like how we use salt to cleanse ourselves. They can be the same thing. Again, you have to see if they're ones that would corrode with salt, but most of the time, especially if it's a smooth stone, salt water works great. Like we talked about last time, we were talking about sage, using the sage or Palo Santo to help. I don't even know if we used the word last time, but smudge, which is cleansing and clearing that energy. You can do that with your crystals. Certain crystals help with the cleansing. Selenite, you had told us earlier, helps cleanse other crystals. I think citrine might do some of that as well, be self-cleansing. And then burying them in the earth. Sometimes that's just it gets them grounded, lets them clear out their stuff. Any other thoughts
I
on that?
Yeah, I actually also use incense, particularly Nag Champa,
Mhm.
and you can get that in any metaphysical store, even on Amazon, because that is such a high vibration incense. And really, all you have to do, like smudging, like sage, is wave the incense over the crystal. And you do want to make sure you have a non-flammable bowl because it's burning and you want to take care. And what else do I always? Yeah, and something that we didn't really talk about is ingesting crystals. Some people will put crystals in water,
Mm,
and then the crystal will imbue the water with its vibrational properties. I personally don't recommend that because
yeah. And you would want to
some
be really
crystals,
conscious with talking to somebody about that.
yeah,
But yes,
yes.
that can be done.
Well, and because some crystals can be toxic. And
Exactly.
if you
Some crystals
don't
can be
know
toxic.
what you're doing, I wouldn't recommend that at all. You can set it near the water and do the same thing with an intention that you're imbuing. the water that you're about to drink with the metaphysical properties of the crystal without having to put the crystal actually into the
in the
water.
water. Yeah, I think that's a better pathway to go, I would say, almost always.
Yeah, it's a lot safer.
Exactly,
It's a lot safer.
exactly.
We don't want you to harm yourself with crystals. These are incredible
Yeah,
tools. As Susan said, not all crystals can be cleansed the same way, and you just have to know. And I think, I'm not sure if Judy Hall goes through the procedure to cleanse, but you can also find out on the internet what's the best
yeah,
way for that crystal to be cleansed, because you
yeah.
want it to be able
I've
to
seen it
continue
for
to
sure.
do its job, to do its work.
Exactly, exactly.
And just like anything, in things need to be cleaned. And that's the best way to do that. So, today's episode is all about the energetics of crystals. And there are so many out there, so many out there that even I don't know all of them.
Oh,
and
yeah. We've spent a lot of
it,
time, and there's just so much and so many properties and variations.
mhm.
We need to be educated.
what, what we want you to do. This is our takeaway. One of our takeaways is we want you to have fun and play.
Yes.
These are beautiful things. I'm gonna hold up a whole handful. These are
Mhm,
beautiful things to play with
mhm.
and hold and touch. And especially if you have children or grandchildren,
Yeah,
to play with them. And half the fun is figuring out what it's going to do for you.
yeah,
And
and
people
allowing.
ask, yeah, and people have asked me, where do I start? I want to start collecting? Where do I start? And it's the same thing that I've said over and over again. What crystal's jumping out at you? That's where you start.
Yep.
I started with, when I was a little girl, picking up mostly milky quartz along. We lived right near railroad tracks. Probably not the safest thing to do, but I was a kid. and picking up quartz along the railroad tracks. And
Mhm.
I don't recommend you do that though, because that's
Going
very
to a
dangerous.
beach was probably not a bad
Going to a
thing for a
beach,
lot of
yep,
mhm.
picking up shells and
Agates.
yep. Ah, I have a bowl of agates that I was
Yes, me
gifted
too.
by a client, and I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, oh, I wish I would have brought it over. But yeah, I love sticking my hand, just stick,
Mm.
just stroking them. And agates are one of the most prolific crystals, and there's so many different types of agate, and
Yes.
they all of
And
those
colors
agates.
and shapes and sizes and everything, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like looking at him. I'm like, nope, don't have any in that bowl. Otherwise, I'd show you one. But we want you to just explore, just have
Yeah.
fun,
Have fun.
and yeah, and just have fun. That's our one of our takeaways is to start reading. Judy Hall's books are the best, and you're
It's
gonna.
good.
It's a journey. It's a journey, and what we want you to do is subscribe to our Wellness Way YouTube channel, because then you can watch this over and over again and get more information and wait for more episodes of
Mhm.
exploring our pathways, your pathways to a healthier, more vibrant life through wellness.
Just a quick note, our next episode, we call it Get Your Groove On, and it's about movement, think active movement for changing and affecting and allowing you to create an energetic environment within your own body that truly supports you and is aligned and moving freely and beautifully. And so we have some different ways that we want to teach you to support getting your groove on. So join us next time for that.